everyone and welcome back to my channel. When I started doing my makeup today, I said I was going to do natural and neutral, and this is definitely not natural and not neutral, but I still really love how it turned out. We are using 99% the same products I used in my last video, which was a very different vibe than this. That was red lip, sparkly gold on the eyes. This is a lot more cool tone, a little bit more flattering, I say, for my complexion. But I love the way it turned out. If you want to see how we got all of this done today, make sure to keep on watching and don't forget to subscribe because I upload every other day. That'll be the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. So if you want to jump into a tutorial on this look right here, eyes, lips, face, the works, stay tuned. So you saw the intro, but I just did a video doing a very super glam sort of holiday makeup, very glittery, red lip, and all of the products I used are so universal that I'm going to use the exact same products today and do something very neutral and very everyday. So I just threw on a tiny bit of the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, which I was wearing in that video. And then I'm going to jump in with the exact same foundation concealer combo, which is the Beauty For Real MVP and the Tarte Shape Tape. I love the finish on this foundation because it's so dewy, it's so luminous. I go a shade darker than my actual complexion, which this is medium 1. I'm like right in between their fair shade and their medium shade. But once I put in my concealer and my powder, I feel like it is such a perfect match. For concealer, this is your casual reminder that it is not 2016 and less is more. I still put it in the same places I put it in back then, but now I probably put on a third of how much I used to. This used to be like full-on triangles, and I basically put a whole layer of foundation on in concealer on top of the foundation I already applied. We don't need to do that. We can let our skin breathe. And now you can barely tell that the foundation was too dark. I'm going to grab the Givenchy Prism Libre palette, and I'm actually going to use the same brush I used in that other video, and we're going to make sure there's no creases on the under eye, and then set it right down. And then we just set down the rest of the face with the same powder. All right, I'm going to give this a second to kind of live on my face. After I apply the powder, I do like to give my skin like 2 to 3 minutes or so to let like any natural oils come through, and it's going to really make that powder sink into the skin. While I do that, I'm going to do my brows off camera, and I'll be right back. All right, we are back. I did prime my lids and throw on a quick brow. Next, what we're going to do is jump into bronzer, blush, and highlight. I'm going to use the Vesca bronzer and the Anastasia Beverly Hills face palette, and we're going to use the two of those to sculpt and chisel the face nice and easy. Then switching to the smaller brush, we're going to take a tiny bit of the warmer toned bronzer and just add a little bit of this to the cheeks. When I used this last time, I used this color first, and it was just a little warmer than I think my skin can take. So instead, I'm using this to kind of set down where the blush is going to go, since this on my complexion almost comes off like a blush tone anyway. And then we're just going to grab that same blush shade and buff that right over the top. On the other side of that same brush with a little bit of the highlight, I'm just going to apply that to the highest point of the cheek. And I'm not going to fully blend it in. We're going to just apply it like that. And then going back to that blush brush, then I'm going to blend it in. That way it is not a stripe on the face, and instead it becomes a nice, glowy, luminous cheek. Now that all of that is on, we're going to jump into a setting mist. This is the Ciate Watermelon Setting Spray, and I'm going to do a mist over the whole face. Then back to my sponge, just going to press that into the cheek and make sure that all of those layers of powder, bronzer, blush, highlight, everything gets kind of melded together so it all just looks like your cheeks are glowy and sculpted, and that it doesn't look like it's 9 layers of powder sitting on top of itself. So the last eye look we did, we used this Midnight palette from Tresluce, and we went in with the rosy toned copper gold down there. This time, I really want to try this Starry Night shade because it is so cool toned. So we're going to do that instead. And to do that, we're going to do a quick smoky eye. So I'm going to start with this packer brush, and we're going to go right into the shade Miracles, the dark brown. Normally, when you're going in for eyeshadow, as you know, you like to start with a lighter shade and blend down. When you're doing a smoky eye, I like to do the opposite. So I'm going to take the darkest shade, and I'm going to press that nice and low on my lid. And I'm actually going to take that really across the entire lid. And then once I feel like it's in place and nice and built up, I'm going to blend that up towards the crease. Now, this is going to look bad before it looks good. So as I blend it out, I'm going to keep going back in with a little more product, always applying the most of it at the base of my eyelid, and then gently blending it up with less and less product as we get higher on the eye. Next, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush, and we're going to go into this shade Memories right here, which is the creamy, almost orange color in the center of the palette. And I'm going to take that and immediately blend that in the crease. Now, I'm not going too high above the crease yet. I really want to take that and use it to soften the edges of that brown more. Then I'm going to switch to the shade Paz up here, which is more pinky, and I'm going to mix that with Memories, and I'm going to blend that just above what we just did. And now that that's all in place, I'm going back into the first brush and back into that darkest brown, and I'm going to apply and blend that up just to soften everything together. Now this on its own could end up being a really pretty smoky eye, but I really want to use that shimmer, so I'm going to apply that on the base of the lid with my finger. That is such a beautiful color. If you prefer to apply your shimmers with a brush, you can, but when I did this entire look with a palette, this palette the other day, I found it applied much better with my finger. Oh, that is so pretty. So I'm going to stick with the finger, but you can do whatever you want. Going into that other brush from before, I'm just going to blend the edges to make sure that we have that definition where we want it. And by applying that dark brown as the first color, it's really helping the silvery, almost green color in this Starry Night shade to pop. I'm going to do this on this eye and I'll be right back. Eyes are even. I did forget to record a little brown liner in the waterline, but nice and sultry. And is that messed up? Or oh no, it's just a shadow. I thought for a second there was a spot of glitter missing, but I love the way it turned out. I know that I said I was going to do neutral natural, and it definitely got a little away from me, but I still feel like this is an everyday eye. I'm going to throw on some high def mascara from Beauty for Real. As you know, my favorite mascara of all time. And I am not going to do a lash today. I feel like a lash with a smoky eye looks good if you're going for that dark and grungy. But because of how beautiful the shade of this like green, gold, silvery duochrome is, I want you to be able to see it. So I feel like I don't want to cover this whole thing up with a lash. So I'm just going to go in with a couple coats of mascara instead. So you'll get that like I have lashes effect on there, but it's not going to block all of that eyeshadow color. Also, life hack, if you do not love your technique with eyeshadow, get really good at applying a false lash. Because there's not much a big fluffy lash can't hide. Yeah, I definitely like how it looks with mascara, so we're going to keep that on. And I think because I wanted neutral, I think we're going to do a nude lip. I think I want to go like a browny, peachy neutral instead of like a pink neutral. So I'm going to take the Dominique Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Crush, which is one of my favorites of all. Is that the shade name? Yes, Crush. One of my favorite liners ever. And on top of that, we're gonna go in with the Huda Beauty lipstick in Interview, which is a little bit more of that like brownie nude. It's not brown, but it's not quite as pink as what I normally do. And I definitely want a little bit of shine, so I'm gonna go with the Alamar lip gloss in the shade Coquetta, which is again one of those more brownie nude glosses right on top. And that is the finished look. I love the neutrality of the lip because it's making the eyes feel very warm despite using a cool tone color. I think this would work on anyone's complexion. I know I wanted to do something a little more neutral natural, and it's definitely a little more nighttime, but I still think it's very flattering and could look good on anyone. As always, let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!